A shop raises the price of bottled water by 10% and barely loses sales. Another shop raises the price of movie tickets by 10% and customers suddenly wait for discounts. Price elasticity explains that difference. It measures how strongly quantity demanded changes when price changes. Elasticity is not about whether people like something. It is about how much their behavior moves when the price moves. If a small price increase causes a big drop in buying, demand is elastic. If people keep buying almost the same amount, demand is inelastic. The same price change can create very different reactions. The first factor is necessity. People are less sensitive to prices when the product feels essential. Medicine, basic electricity, and fuel for commuting can remain in demand even when prices rise. People may complain, but they still buy because stopping is difficult. That does not mean price never matters, it means the response is smaller. Substitutes make demand more elastic. If one coffee shop raises prices and 3 similar cafe copyrights sit nearby, customers can switch. If a specific medication has no alternative, switching is harder. The more choices people have, the more power they have to walk away from a price increase. Time changes elasticity. In the short run, a driver may keep buying petrol because work is far away. Over months, they may carpool, change jobs, move closer, or buy a more efficient vehicle. Demand that looks inelastic today can become more elastic when people have time to adjust. Budget share matters too. A small price increase on salt may not change behavior much because salt takes a tiny part of the household budget. A small percentage increase on rent can change everything because rent consumes a large share of income. People react more strongly when the bill is big enough to hurt. Elasticity also works for luxury and optional spending. A restaurant meal, streaming subscription, or holiday trip may be delayed or canceled when prices rise. People still want these things, but wanting is not the same as buying. When money is tight, optional purchases are easier to cut. Businesses care about elasticity because it affects revenue. If demand is inelastic, a price increase may raise total revenue because customers do not reduce purchases much. If demand is elastic, a price increase can reduce revenue because too many buyers leave. Pricing is not only about charging more, it is about predicting reaction. Imagine a gym charges $50 and has 1,000 members. If it raises the fee to $60 and only loses 50 members, revenue rises. But if it loses 300 members, revenue falls. The price went up in both cases. Elasticity decides whether the business gains or damages itself. Elasticity helps explain discounts. Stores cut prices when lower prices can attract enough extra buyers to increase total sales or clear inventory. A supermarket discount on fruit may move stock quickly before it spoils. A luxury watch discount may not create the same rush because the buyer group is smaller and the item is still expensive. Taxes also depend on elasticity. If the government taxes a product with inelastic demand, consumers may end up paying much of the tax through higher prices. If demand is elastic, sellers may absorb more of the tax because raising prices would push customers away. Elasticity helps show who really bears the burden. There is also supply elasticity. If sellers can increase production quickly when prices rise, supply is elastic. A bakery may bake more bread tomorrow. Housing supply is often less elastic because land, permits, construction, and financing take time. That is why price changes in property markets can be dramatic. Elasticity is not fixed forever. A product can become more elastic when competitors appear, technology improves, or consumer habits change. Taxis became more price-sensitive when ride-hailing alternatives expanded. Cable television became easier to cancel when streaming gave people substitutes. The idea also explains why some companies build brand loyalty. If customers believe a product is special, they may be less price-sensitive. A phone, shoe, or cosmetic brand can charge more when buyers feel there is no perfect substitute. Branding does not remove elasticity, but it can reduce it. A mistake is assuming cheap products always have elastic demand. Some cheap items are so necessary or low cost that price changes barely matter. Another mistake is assuming expensive products are always elastic. A life-saving treatment may be extremely expensive but still demanded because the alternative is worse. For households, elasticity is useful when budgeting. Ask which expenses are easy to adjust and which are not. Dining out may be elastic. Rent may be less flexible in the short run. Insurance, transport, and subscriptions each have different switching options. A budget improves when it separates fixed pressure from adjustable choices. For businesses, elasticity should be tested, not guessed. Customer surveys, small price experiments, competitor tracking, and sales data all help. A business that guesses wrong may raise prices and lose loyal buyers, or keep prices too low when customers would have accepted a modest increase. Price elasticity is the study of reaction. It reminds us that prices do not move in a vacuum. People compare, delay, substitute, complain, accept, or walk away. The important question is not simply, €1 did the price rise? €1 it is. €1 how much did behavior change because the price rose? €1? Elasticity can be measured with percentages. If price rises 10% and quantity demanded falls 20%, demand is very responsive. If quantity falls only 2%, demand is much less responsive. The exact formula can look technical, but the intuition is behavior compared with price movement. Cross-price elasticity looks at substitutes and complements. If tea sales rise when coffee becomes expensive, tea may be a substitute. If printer sales slow when ink becomes expensive, the products are connected in a different way. Prices rarely affect only one item in isolation. Income elasticity asks how demand changes when people earn more or less. Some goods rise sharply with income, such as holidays or restaurant meals. Some basic goods barely change. Other purchases may decline as income rises because people switch to higher quality alternatives. This is why luxury brands, supermarkets, airlines, and software companies study customer segments differently. A discount traveler reacts differently from a business traveler. A family buying staples reacts differently from someone buying a collectible item. Elasticity depends on the buyer €1's situation, not only the product name. Elasticity also helps explain why shortages can produce sharp price spikes. If supply drops and demand is inelastic, buyers compete for fewer units and prices can climb quickly. This can happen with housing, fuel, or medical supplies when alternatives are limited and the need is urgent. Price elasticity turns pricing into a question about choices. Who can delay? Who can switch? Who has no substitute? Who has time to adjust? The answers decide whether a price change becomes a small complaint, a lost sale, or a major shift in the market. For example, a commuter may keep buying fuel this week because work cannot wait, but the same commuter may change routes, carpool, or choose a different vehicle over the next year. A grocery store may raise the price of a staple and see little change, while a dessert brand loses buyers quickly. Those comparisons show why elasticity is practical. It turns a price change into a prediction about real choices.